Good evening. This is the July 29th meeting of the Newcastle Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight, we have an extension request before we get into our regular agenda.
Jaguar Realty.
He's on Zoom.
Are they on?
Yes.
Sorry, keeping the hair.
Okay, do you want to fill us in on your request?
Yes. So, as you know, about 2 years ago, we have applied for, Tesla applied for the, for a variance, and then we got the, a year later, we got an extension. Now we're at our request for our second extension, and the reason for this is because, you know, the utility Con Edison, it's been very, tedious work and, you know, drawn out to get all our infrastructure and the review for all the electrical loads from the utility company. But as of 2 weeks ago, we got a response from Con Edison that they're at their final stages of getting this to us, and this is very big news because it's been this long, and we hope that in the coming weeks we'll be able to commence construction.
Okay, do you have a definite time, or you just want to get an extension long enough to give you some leeway?
Yeah, you know, you never know with the utilities, so we would appreciate to get another year, but we're pretty certain that this is the year. So we'll get it done.
Okay, and I'm assuming, and I shouldn't assume, but you should tell me, are there any changes to your original plan? Is it going to be done exactly the way it was
No.
originally approved?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, nice. Sabrina, are you here for this application? You want to, you're not gonna give us any input? Okay.
Not on this one.
Okay,
I'm here to observe tonight unless you have questions.
fine, thank you. Anybody on the board have any? No, okay. I'm not gonna make it for a year though. I'm gonna make a motion that we grant you a 6-month extension with a year to complete. Anybody can second that?
Oh, I second the motion.
Chairman Giordino.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
Okay, you have 6 months, thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Catalachi.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. Nice to see you, members of the board. Brad Schwartz from Zarin Steinmetz representing the applicant, and good evening, staff, and Sabrina, thanks for joining. Joined by Steve Cavalacci, my colleague Jacqueline Cohen, and Patrick Bell from Cronin Engineering. So, as you all know, this property is at 211 King Street. It's currently in the BR district, and what Steve is here, we're asking for your board's approval to redevelop the site as multifamily housing pursuant to the MFRC zoning district. And I wanna emphasize up front, we'll get to the plans in a moment, but we believe that this proposal is consistent and will enhance the streetscape along King Street, and will also advance the purposes and intent of the MFRC zoning and your town's comprehensive plan. And why do I say that? I think the key points, those are all about introducing new housing into the business hamlet that's walkable to the existing retail, on public sewer and water, and energy efficient housing. And not to mention your town's policies that I just mentioned, we're all familiar with New York State, right, statewide, frankly, countrywide, right, making a push in the need for new housing. So we think this project accomplishes all of those public purposes and policies. And I know Sabrina was here largely to observe, but Sabrina, I'm gonna quote you because frankly, your town planner agrees. In her memo to your board back in April, she says that implementation of the MFRC within this area is consistent with the goals and objectives of the 2017 comprehensive plan. So the project, in short, would be to take down the existing building that contains 2 units and construct a new building in the front that would contain 3 units and a standalone building in the rear that would have a single unit. They would all be 2 bedrooms with 10 new parking spaces. The 3 approvals that we need from your board, there's 2 variances, front yard setback and lot area. In the front yard setback, the requirement is 50 feet The proposal is for 10 feet, so it's a 40-foot variance. Should mention that the existing building is 12 feet from King Street, so when you look at it through that lens, it's really only a 2-foot differential compared to what exists today. The lot area requirement is 1 acre. The site is about a third of an acre, so it's about a 2/3 acre variance. The interpretation is a little bit of a quirky one. There's an inconsistency in the code, as you remember. The MFRC, the text of the code has a coverage requirement, but the bulk table says not applicable. And so frankly, we think that's a straightforward one to resolve, because when there's an inconsistency or ambiguity in the code, state law, as you all know, ambiguities are resolved in favor of the property owner. And Allen versus Adami's 1976 Court of Appeals, I mean, that's how far back that principle goes. With respect to the variances, we do think that the proposal is consistent with the community character. This site is already residential. It's residential today, it'll be residential if this is all approved. I mentioned that only 2-foot differential compared to the 12-foot setback that currently exists. Patrick prepared a map that we're gonna show you that the existing properties immediately around us have even less setbacks than the 12 feet that exist today and the 10 feet that would exist in the proposed condition. With respect to environmental impacts, the site is obviously already disturbed, so there will not be any environmental impacts associated with this proposal. There's no new disturbance. So at least my opening remarks. I'll have Patrick briefly show you the proposal on the plan, and I also wanna walk through the analysis that Patrick has done with respect to the other properties and their setbacks in the immediate vicinity.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. As Brad alluded to, our office put together a plan to show the properties along King Street within the BR district for both their setback to the front yard and for areas. So as a comparison to what would be developed for this lot. So the first sheet here shows the areas proposed for 211 King Street, as Brad noted, was about a third of an acre. And
Just point to where the site.
Can I just interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Do you have handouts for any of this? Was any of this submitted in with your materials, the application materials?
the application had been adjourned and
I know, but was that
To
part of the
answer
original?
your question, the plan has been submitted. This document we created for tonight just to show the setbacks.
Okay.
So we could submit to Jack
Just would
tomorrow.
like to see it a little bit more closely.
Could we bring it closer to the dais?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I just.
Brad, you should submit it for the file.
We will.
Thank you.
Really, the simplistic interpretation.
Right, grab
Let's
the
go, good
microphone. Otherwise our TV audience won't hear you.
So this is the site to where my 211 King Street is here, okay? This is the acreage, where's the setbacks?
setbacks.
Let's just jump to the setbacks.
Alright.
So this is the site, 211 King Street, the black dot, as mentioned, currently the building is 12-foot setback from King Street. And so when you look at the immediate surrounding area, we have a 0 setback, a 0 setback, a 0 setback, a 0 setback. And then we obviously expanded the study area, but just to at least point out, right along the property are all 0 setbacks. So everything's right up against King Street. Again, the building today is 12 feet, proposed would be 10 feet. I'm not gonna walk you through each and every site, we will submit it for your review. That was really the main, go ahead.
149 King, what's the setback at 149 King?
149, 30.
It's also a much larger property.
No, I understand, I just wanted.
Does this just show the plan? I think you quickly through the plan if you even talk about it. Let's describe it.
Yeah, as Brad alluded to earlier, proposed for a building along the front with 3 units in it, building in the rear with 1 unit. All of the units would be 2-bedroom. parking underneath, proposed to have elevators in there for access to the upper floor. That's all consistent with the requirements or the suggestions of the MFRC. We would have landscaping along the side. We show retaining walls there. Again, those are all tied into incentives that are part of the MFRC.
I just wanna just elaborate upon that for a second, just to be clear, under our calculation of the density, we could get 3, the 4th, we need to meet certain incentives. And so the incentives that we're proposing, the screening that Patrick just mentioned, both along the side and the front will be robust screening. There's gonna be under building parking, which you should touch upon, and these are rental units, not for sale. So those are all examples of incentives under the MFRC that would allow the 4th unit.
Water and sewer, it's not depicted on this plan, but tie into the existing water and sewer that's out in King Street. And then as part of the review, when the project goes to the planning board, do a full engineering plan for the site. But do feel that what's proposed works with the site and the layout and the grading of the property as
Explain
well.
the slope that accomplishes the under building parking, please.
Yeah, the way as Brad alluded to, the property slopes from the front to the back. So that allows us to have the underground or beneath building parking that's being proposed for the units. Another incentive as part of the MFRC.
There's 2 guest spaces off to the side, right?
Correct. 2 parking spaces in the back, visitor parking.
Are the other unit parking garages or just open space?
Gonna be garages.
Garages.
Yeah.
And the accesses to those is King Street or is it Maple?
Everything's off at King Street. The driveway entrance is there, the southwest corner of the property right here.
But there is an entrance off of Maple.
No, that is just a
Is that gonna be-
turnaround area.
Will that be closed off? Isn't there one now that you can get through
Yes.
on Maple? I
To the
believe-
property?
I believe there's an entrance off of Maple.
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
There's a house back there.
There's a house, but that's separate property.
That's a
That's
separate
not
property.
yours.
Correct.
Can I ask this question?
Yeah.
The comprehensive plan, which you mentioned early on, first of all, that was done almost 20 years ago at this point, but putting that aside for a second. There are a lot of goals in there. I don't know if that document has, maybe close to 50, maybe more. One of the goals in there, I think it's goal number 2, is locate higher density residential development in hamlets with density of development decreasing as the distance from the hamlet increases. And could you speak to how this project meets that goal?
I mean, I think this is certainly walkable to Greeley.
Not about walkability. The goal is that the density decreases as you go from the hamlet, as you go away from the hamlet. Again, the goal number 2 in the comprehensive plan is locate higher density residential development in hamlets with the density of development decreasing as distance from the hamlet centers increase. So you're further away from the hamlet than, let's say, for example, 149 King, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I guess my question is the density on something like this higher or lower than that?
So I don't know the density at 149 King, but I would submit 4 units of housing that's desired by the towns. Again, statewide policy of the need for new housing. 4 units does not strike me as a high density development. And again, we have the 3 under the code, and the 4th one is based upon the incentives that we're providing.
Do you know what the development coverage is, the building coverage of 149 King?
I'm not familiar with 149 King. If you know it, I'm happy to hear it, and we can distinguish it, what we're talking about.
That's
Where
my
the location?
application, just my question.
You know? Yeah. You know 149 King?
Can I just go back to your other rendering for a second of the buildings? In the application package, we got a bunch of renderings last time.
Mhm.
And I think there were some questions as to whether or not those were actually accurate. And to the extent that are these different than what was submitted with the original March package, do you know?
I mean, these are the footprints that are relatively the same, and we did not make any adjustments to the plan.
Patrick, I think we added 2 car garages versus 1.
Right, but that's what we have shown on here, as 2-car garages. So, but I mean, any changes in the rendering would be very minimal, and wouldn't change the overall footprint of these buildings, so.
We had a question on 149, correct?
I mean, I guess my question in regards to 149 is when you talk about the density, you're talking the actual coverage or the number of units? Because 149 has 20 units on it, 1.8 acres. We'd be looking to put 4 units on, a third of an acre. I would think that is, fairly comparable as far as, number of units per acre.
Right, I guess, Mike, what I'm getting at with you is to the extent we're gonna be looking at, and as you should be looking at the comprehensive plan, is what you're proposing, and I don't wanna just limit this to 149 King, okay? That's at the bottom of the hill and going up. Or, how you consider the goal, the comprehensive plan to lower density as you move away from the hamlet center.
So we don't have that math, we don't have that data offhand tonight, we can certainly get back to you with that kind of a planning analysis or density study if we need. I would still just submit that it's close enough to the center, we're talking about 4 units, so I'm not sure that that's necessarily critical to the ZBA's analysis, but it's something that we can provide if you would like.
But Brad, there's the condos.
Why don't you come on up?
Okay. Good evening, Stephen Tavalenci. There's another condo project above the King Street, which is the 10, is it Highland? That's where it's, yeah,
There's 11 units.
he has 11 units where he lives,
1.1 acre.
which is
That's part of the MFRC?
that's part of the
Under
MFRC. No,
BRC.
It's part of BR, it's
Under the MFRC.
Okay.
But
Under
we
the
have a much
MFRC.
greater setback.
so we're in the middle of 149 and then this other condo project at the top, which is 10 Highland.
Any
Could you,
questions?
yes, could you speak to a little bit of what you did to minimize the variances that you would have to come to us for?
Yeah, I mean, we
Well, look, first of all, I'll start with the lot acreage is what it is, right? Obviously, you can't change that, and so that's one variance. The other variance is the setbacks. We're gonna talk about the setback and why the building is located in the location where you have it, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, we have set the building at the front yard setback at 10 feet, which is equivalent to what it would be.
Show the plan on the plan.
microphone. Asking a lot.
Thanks. Yeah, so the front of the building is set at 10 feet, which is the front yard setback for the BR district. So it's compatible with that. And we laid it out in a way to be able to still have access to the back of the building. So if we try to push the buildings further back, then we would lose the access to the behind the building parking and being able to, with people coming and going, be able to have that done in a safe and efficient manner. And as Brad alluded to, the lot acreage is what the lot acreage is, but
Thank you.
Could you, I see where the extra parking is,
yes.
and the lot slopes. How high is that retaining wall going to be? See where the big white that looks like it's probably somebody else's lot, is that where that house is?
Well, that's where the lot is, and then the house is back here.
So what is that border gonna look like, the property line?
Someone answer that.
It's sloping, so you
Yeah,
gotta.
and we don't have the proposed grades on there, so we were at 380. First floor is 393. So I'm imagining it's probably be a 5 to 6 foot retaining wall.
Patrick, let me just add one thing. Another reason why we kept the buildings up to the front of the street is to, God forbid there's ever a fire, we can get the fire truck to the back of the building. We have a letter from the fire department stating that the way that the plan is, that they approve the way that the plan is that we show. So that was another reason, I guess, so, you know, God forbid they had to fight the fire from the back, they can get to it the way they can fight it.
Have you heard from that property owner?
They were actually at the, speaking of property owner back here, they were at the ZBA meeting in March that we attended, and had a conversation with Mr. Tavalacci afterwards, and just wanted to come out and find out about it, but didn't have any objection when we spoke to him with that.
I just have just one, this is a question actually to you and then also to if Sabrina can help with this. There was an adjournment request that we got for the May meeting because it said in there that you were monitoring a town board proposal to amend the MFRC and that you wanted to see what happened with those amendments. Has there been a change in the direction of the town board or what, I mean, we have to look at this based as what the code is now, but I do wanna know, you know, has there been any change in the status of this in front of the town board, the proposed legislation that you were holding back?
Not to the best that I know, right? We've been monitoring the town board meetings, the planning board meeting, they discussed it on a referral basis, sent some comments back to the town board. But there's been no concrete legislation that's been proposed and subject to a public hearing, so at the moment, given the status of the town board's efforts and not knowing how long that might take, if at all, we wanted to come back in advance to that before your board. If Sabrina has something to add, she certainly can.
No, I think council's recollection is correct. The town board has not revisited this issue since the referrals have been received. I know there's interest in moving forward with some sort of changes, but there has been no discussion to date since that time.
Have you been to the planning board? Did you have any input from the planning board about this?
We submitted to the planning board, but at that point we were referred to come to the zoning board. So it has not been in front of the zoning board. It was recommended to get the variance.
You're waiting for us.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the MFRC regulations require a special permit that would be issued by the planning board. This application was denied because of the actual conflicts within the code. So I think that if you were to consider approving this resolution, you could add conditions to the satisfaction of the planning board approval if you so chose.
But they
They
can't,
still have to review it.
you're right, but they can't do anything until there is a determination as to whether or not there will be a variance.
Well, correct.
Right.
Correct.
So kind of, everything stops until our board makes their decision.
Correct, and I would want to refer to council and, and see if there's a way to get it to the planning board without you making that decision and kind of doing a board-to-board referral or something like that. I don't know. If there's a creative way to give you some assistance through a planning board review process.
I think that would be helpful if possible.
I don't know, I defer to council, to Ruben, to explore whether or not there's a way to do that.
Is that something new to you, Ruben, or we're springing it on you, or you were?
You're springing it on me, but no, we'd have to, I can't give you the answer off the
No,
top of
no,
my
I'm
head,
not
but-
looking for off the top of your head, I mean, it's.
But just so I make sure I understand, you mean referring it back to the planning board without making a determination
Well,
on
in
the
many,
zoning
yeah, in
variance?
many instances, a planning board gives us their input and their feelings about things and it does.
That's with a special permit that your board is responsible for. And so, just to be clear, in this instance, the MFRC, to apply the MFRC overlay, it is a permit issued by the planning board. Because the application didn't meet the standards of the MFRC, I had to deny it from, to appearing before the planning board and redirect it to your board.
Okay, I got it, so that means we're the deciding factor right now. I get
You're
it.
up at the moment.
You are the deciding factor, and unless there's a way that council can advise to give you some opportunity to hear from the planning board, I'm not sure if there is one or if it's something that I'm making up as I'm speaking about it, but to kind of give you some assistance, I don't know.
One thing I would add, they were I wasn't at the planning board, but the team was. Typically, the referrals don't come to your board until the planning board is comfortable with the general site layout. So I get that you may not have a written referral before your board, but I would submit that the absence of any objections or anything like that, simply referring it to your board, I think is an understanding that they're comfortable with the layout and they're ready for your board to take action.
Well, I was just gonna say, I don't think waiting for the planning board is appropriate in this instance. We'll debate and this particular application right now as it stands. And if the board members need a little more time to digest some of this information, we'll just adjourn till next time. It sounds like there's some questions that they need answered. Anybody on the board?
Sabrina, did you say that this does meet the requirements for MFRC?
No, it doesn't.
Does
It does not.
Okay.
It does not, because they have a lot that is less than an acre, their setback is less than 50 feet, and there's a conflict within the code as specified regarding building coverage. So those three aspects of this application do not meet the test.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, so you have more with your presentation?
No, happy to answer any questions.
Okay. You guys are all set.
I'm sorry?
You said what you're gonna say, you have anything more to add?
That completes our presentation.
Okay, great. Next step we say is,
Someone's got the hand up.
I know, is there anybody in the room or online that would like to speak to this application? If so, come forward, state your name, and for the record, give us your input.
I'm Jim McCauley, I live at 24 Highland Avenue, which is part of the King Street Hill condominiums, which is diagonally across from 211. I've attended, I was notified of this first application to this board, and I've attended each meeting that has come up again. I've also attended planning board meetings. And my understanding is that the planning board and the town board, and this was discussed in the last planning board meeting, are going to meet. And it wasn't set, but it was stated that it would be in early September. Because the planning board felt that this was a legislative issue and that any changes in the MFRC had to be done, legislatively. They didn't have the legal ability to do it. So I don't believe that meeting has been set yet because of summer and everybody shuts down for August, all the boards. So I believe that would take place. The other piece, as a resident who would be affected by this in and of itself, the objections I have and my other condo members have is the the going from 0.33 lot to 100% coverage on that. We have a 1.1 lot, so we got a little bit. I think we got one extra unit, but there was also some payments for recreation and so on that were considered incentives at that time. The setback obviously is not as, in a sense, is not as critical as for this particular property, but it may be, and I didn't see, and I can't see all the other properties. I know the other properties, but it may not be because it's 12 here, and I think there's one or two others that are fairly minimal. And that wouldn't be much change, and it wouldn't probably make a big difference. But the two together would make a big difference. And there are other properties either currently for sale or somewhat in the thinking process anyway, where the 10-foot or the 10-foot versus the 50-foot setback would be a considerable problem. I think it would change the entire streetscape. So I'd ask that you give it full consideration, and I think there's a lot of questions, both from a 90-foot level that the town hasn't answered yet, and that once those answers come through, then everything can be looked at and decided on a more informed basis for all three boards. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Get this thing blocked up for you, can't see the thing.
I'll spot you.
Okay.
Chuck Napoli. The thing I want to be sure is that I've been reading all the memos back and forth between planning board and to the town board from the planning board. We've been at the planning board meetings where they have concerns about how to create that middle housing or that rental housing or that other form of housing rather than high density housing in the middle of the hamlet. They have concerns about setbacks, not so much, but mostly coverage. And when we get rid of the density issue, they forget that the density issue is part of the area required for each unit. And the code says if you have a 2-bedroom unit, I think you need 5,000 square feet of land. It might be 4,000, I'm not sure whatever it is. But in any case, if there's 4 units on there and each one of them needs 5,000 square feet, that will exceed the density of the property. So I think that's what Jim is talking about. It's 100% coverage of not necessarily buildings or parking lot, but certainly of area for each residence. Now, they're not residences anymore. They're not multi-family. They're rentals. It's not a house like it is at the Berenson property. It's an apartment building with a front door that looks like maybe a house, but it's rental, which is great because that's what we're looking for, more rentals, more chances for people to come to town and be a starter house, or even planning board is concerned about what about finisher houses? I mean, like we don't have much room, or we have not considered elderly that much. And so, so they're talking about lots of different things, including accessory dwellings, which are just little houses on existing properties that provide another single bedroom and a place for somebody to start their family or even move to Chappaqua and stay here. So the planning board is looking at all of these things. There's a list, and here's what I'm asking. You should get that list, and you should maybe you and the planning board, since you're becoming the legislative body on varying this code, maybe we should look at.
I take exception to that. We are not legislative, and we are not legislating. We are considering a variance on its own merits, not anything else in the town, pro or con, and that is what we do all the time. We do. Just for the record,
I
I
got
want to get that on the record, Chuck.
Well, you are varying the law, you're varying the legislation.
Which is our mandate.
Yes, okay, so in a way, you're planning and in a way directing legislation or allowing varying legislation.
You can't get rid of that legislation.
No, I just,
Yeah,
it's
let
all
it go.
about the law. And anyway, all I'm saying is that maybe if we talked with the planning, if you talked to the planning board and got a sense of where their line is going, and maybe when it comes time to vary the law, you'll have a lot more input. All right, that's all I have to say. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak for this application? Anybody online? We have a hand raised online. What happened?
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. My name is Maggie Ferguson. I just wanted to clarify a couple things. I second what Chuck and Jim have said. Based on the planning board has expressed great consternation with the law that the variances that are shown for this application as reflected in the law, they felt they could it was Sabrina's decision to send it to you. The planning board took no position on it. But they didn't deny it, correct, Sabrina? They didn't deny it and they didn't refer it to the zoning board. It was you, was it not?
The planning board has not reviewed this application. They reviewed proposed legislation that the town board circulated.
And they've never, so at some point in the discussion here tonight, it was said that the planning board was comfortable in referring it to you, or the silence or the lack of a formal referral should show that they were comfortable.
They have not received it under the special
Well, I'm
permit
saying that's
process.
what I took from some of the words that were said here tonight, that they were comfortable turning it over to the ZBA to make a decision. And the planning board has sent a memo to the town board, and they said they were unable to provide constructive feedback on the proposed local law because the referral did not supply sufficient baseline information to enable the planning board to reach a consensus and an understanding that the suggested changes adequately supported the town's housing policy. Instead, the board would like to take the opportunity to contemporaneously correct conflicts in the existing code and create a dialogue that could influence enhanced housing opportunities in the Chapel Hamlet. The planning board respectfully requests to meet with the town board to engage in this collaborative discussion. And they do have a list. And they list the things that they'd like to know and to form a comprehensive decision. I understand that you're not a legislative body, and I understand this is a variance as to, or these are variances and interpretations as to a single application. But will it not set precedent? Could other property owners not be able to come in and point to their properties being situated similarly to this property? And also, if they go in under the MFRC, there are architectural features under the MFRC that basically describe having townhouses. I think Chuck at one point said it's a mailbox with a front door for each residence. There's certainly nothing wrong with townhouses, they're wonderful for many people. But imagine if this is a precedent to allow other properties along King Street to come in and adhere to the architectural requirements, which are broad, but still they're townhouses. You'd have townhouses on both sides of King Street at points where you could. And if they succeeded in challenging, seeking the same types of variances. But I do want to stress that the planning board is greatly concerned about the law and is not comfortable even because there's not enough information to make proper decisions. They think that information can be compiled, they've requested it, and they think that in the end, through discussion with the town board, they can come up with a wonderful comprehensive plan that does address the many goals of the town comp plan, not just, the town comp plan is not just about housing. And that's the points I wanted to make. I can see Mr. Schwartz is ready to rebut me.
Hello, Maggie.
Hello?
Are you finished?
Yes, I am for the moment.
So look, I was recently engaged on this matter. Mr. Tavalacci advises that he was before the planning board back in December, so according to the client and the applicant, that the planning board has reviewed this. Look, I get it, right? And any time a project doesn't comply 100% with zoning, there are two paths a property owner has the right to take. Petition to the legislative body or seek variance relief from the zoning board. In this case, my client didn't petition the town board. The town board decided to take up some much broader legislative initiative with respect to MFRC on its own, refer to the planning board as part of that rezoning process. And the planning board, I agree, gave a laundry list of items back to the town board that's much more globally than just this one particular project and the two variances that are before you. As a result of that dialogue, I can't speak exactly what's happening at the moment. All I can tell you is that what's not happening, the legislation has not been put back on the town board agenda. There's been no public hearing scheduled, so there's nothing happening right now, the best that we can tell publicly from the town board process. So my client has a property, he has this application before your board, and seeking relief from a zoning board is perfectly lawful and acceptable. Taking this argument to the logical extreme, then every application to your board is legislative and it eliminates the whole purpose of a ZBA.
I think one of the reasons why this confusion is coming up a little bit is because the adjournment in May specifically referenced that you were waiting for this. If you're not waiting for this and you just want the application considered and you don't care what happens at the town board and their discussions with the planning board, as is your right, then just say so, because that's why I asked you that question. Because it was not clear. If you're just submitting your application and you're gonna get the rest of your materials in for us to consider and there'll be deliberation and determination, fine. Is that what the applicant's saying?
That's what the applicant is saying, and just to backtrack 1 minute, right? Candidly, because we had heard about the undertaking by the town board to consider something, we thought it was prudent on us to at least, let's just sit back and watch a little bit to see how this unfolded. And given the fact that not much is happening at the moment, we wanted to come back to your board.
Okay, anybody else out there that would like to comment?
I mean, I think, yes, our business here is giving variances, so we can give a variance, I think, regardless of what else is happening, in these more global conversations within the town. If there's somebody in front of us asking for something, we can,
Right.
opine on that.
I agree. Any other comments from the board? Does anybody need more time to review some of this new stuff, or?
I would like to see, I would like to see a few things, just, I do wanna see all these new submissions, I definitely wanna take a look at that. And also, I don't wanna, one of the things we're being asked to do is interpret. And so, I would like to see, and I'm sorry to ask for this, there's not been much talk about, I assume one of the things we need to look at is legislative history of the section that we're being asked to interpret. Because Sabrina has taken the position that there's some form of a conflict. I just wanna make sure I understand when each of the relevant sections in the interpretation were adopted, what the minutes and records said, and what changes were made at each of those juncture points. So that I just wanna make sure that there's a full record so that that's something I wanna be able to look at to the extent that that is a relevant consideration. And if council wants to tell me it's not, that's fine, but legislative history would seem to be something we would wanna look at. If you could just tell me whether or not that's a relevant consideration.
It may be, it may not be.
Alright.
We'll give you an answer.
Alright, thank you.
Anybody else?
No.
Everybody happy for now? Okay.
But I would say that I think we should delay this.
Oh, definitely. Okay, so we have input from the public, we have questions by the board that need to be resolved. And the applicant is aware of all of that. I'm gonna make a motion that we hold this over until our September meeting, which will give everybody a time to get the information needed to us and we can review it. And with a little bit of luck, make a decision in September.
Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Would you like to
I
make any
second the motion.
any comments on that one?
No.
No, okay, he'll second. Mike seconds it. I vote aye, okay.
Chairman Giordino.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
We'll see you in September.
Enjoy your summer, thank you.
Have a nice summer, board.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sabrina.
La Forteza?
Hi, Elmira Scott, architect, this is Heather LaForteza, homeowner. We're here to ask for a setback variance for a ground level patio and then a small one for an addition. The patio was actually built in 1998. As I said, it's ground level. I brought this, I think it's easier to pass around because it's small. Basically what I wanted to show was that this patio is quite a distance. It's a big piece of property that La Forteza's own, but also it's closest to backyards of houses that enter on Round Hill Road. So the houses that are most affected by it are very far away. And as I say, it kind of blends into the landscape, as you can see from the picture, I think. And then there was a small corner of the addition that was done in 2005 that when they got an as-built survey was a little too close. So we're asking for variances for both issues.
So you're asking for a variance for the patio
Correct.
and the addition. I don't have the
That
addition
corner of the
in my
addition.
notes. Why don't I have
It's
it?
written on there.
We
It's-
don't have that either, if you
Yeah.
really want. There's only one variance.
We just,
It was on the application.
The denial letter is only for the patio.
Okay.
I'm
Alright,
assuming that the addition which is just existing.
it's
That is correct, sir.
Okay, so we'll forget about the addition.
it's de minimis.
We'll do the easy part. So the patio was built by you or by others?
No, it was built by us.
Okay, without a permit.
We had a permit for the job. This, we didn't know we needed a variance. And we got a certificate of occupancy and we thought that was it.
Oh, okay.
And then we got a survey done recently and this was highlighted on the survey.
It
I have no
happens.
idea.
What initiated the survey?
We're considering selling the property, so we want our
Oh,
old
we're gonna
survey.
hate to lose you.
We're sad to go if we go. We'll see. But we're getting our ducks in a row.
Good.
And the survey was old, so we got a new one
The right
and
thing
this
to do.
came up.
Is anybody in the room would like to speak to this application? Or anybody online would like to speak to this application?
I have a quick question. When-
Comments
when-
by the board. Yes.
When was the work done that
This 1998.
1998? Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, I'll move we close the public hearing.
I second the motion.
Kevin Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
Okay, so we need a
When they do it?
motion, since you're in the room, let's do it.
Next year. I make a motion that we consider the we consider the application for 44 Deerfield Road for a side yard setback of 13 feet, variance of 13 feet. Required is 35 feet and the setback would be 22 feet. This is an existing patio that was constructed during a job in 1998 where the homeowner was not aware that they needed a separate variance for this particular patio, and so they're trying to bring it into compliance. The granting of the variance will not create an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood. The benefit cannot be sought by another method as it's already in place. The requested variance is not particularly substantial. There will not be an adverse effect upon the physical environment or conditions in the area. Is it a self-created hardship? It is essentially a self-created hardship in that it was put in place and probably could have been put elsewhere, but it's already in place, as I mentioned. And so the fact that it is in place already outweighs the the self-created hardship. And do we need anything on this, Tom, at all?
We have all required documentation.
And we have no need to start or finish.
No,
Therefore,
I'll second the motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
You have your variance.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
okay, Bao and Son,
Before we start this, good evening. Before we start, for the record, I am recused from this application. Mr. Nolan will take over. Legally, I have to leave. I'm not going far.
don't leave the building.
No, I won't.
Good evening, Chairman. Good evening, the board, staff. My name is Wael Al-Asawi from AWJ, representing the owners of 56 Shingle. We came to in front of the board actually 2 times before, in January 25th and in May 28th last year, asking for a 288 variance to get access to the property. We granted that variance in January and we revised it based on the revised location of the house within the property on the 28th of May. Was get effected on the 26th of June. Until now, we don't have a building permit yet, but we managed to get the town engineer approval. We did manage to get most of the permit that needed before we issued the building permit. However, we start actually preparation the site. Within that time frame, we put the letter of length of disturbing on site. We marked all the trees that has to be removed, and that's the only thing we can do without the building permit. But we missed the extension of time for the completion. So that's why we came in front of the board asking for extension of time.
So you made it much more complicated, obviously, by not requesting an extension prior to the expiration of the variance. And so just to recap what the delay has been, you're waiting for permits?
We're waiting for the building permits.
And is that from whom? From the town?
Yes, sir.
And the building permits are, what, do we know what that delay is created by?
Currently, I believe the applicant is with the Environmental Review Board under a tree review.
Okay, so that's still not complete?
Correct.
Okay. Are you changing your requests from your previous requested variances?
Nothing changed from that.
And how much time do you need now?
If we need 6 months to start and year to completion, that's what we're looking for.
So do we have to go through the approval of can we just use the existing variance approval that we've done already and just approve on top of that, or should we start as if this is a brand new?
I think technically you have to start again because there's no approval in effect.
There's no approval now in place.
Yeah, I mean technically.
Can I weigh in? I'm Whitney Singleton, attorney on behalf of the applicant. Technically, we missed the renewal period, requesting a renewal within the 365-day period. So as far as administratively, we had to renotice, we had to republish, we had to resubmit new fees and everything. But I don't know that necessarily means that your board needs to reinvent the wheel here. You can simply adopt the findings as not having changed since it was approved back on May 28th of 2005 and filed in the clerk's office on June 26th of 2025. It's more than I think. I know that you can.
I think we'd probably follow our counsel's advice to create a brand new variance with reflecting all the variance requests. Yes.
I believe there's people that want to speak regarding this application.
Okay. Does anyone here like to speak to this matter?
Good evening, board member, staff. My name is Jacob Amir from Zarin and Steinmetz. I didn't know if the applicant was done, that's why I was waiting in the back, so I appreciate the time. Let me just start by saying I represent the owners of 52 Shingle House Road next door. And just to make it clear, we're not opposing the application per se, we're not opposing the development of the property. I just wanted to make that abundantly and perfectly clear. I am happy though that the applicant's architect, I believe, or engineer.
The project manager, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. That the applicant has stated to your board that they didn't change anything since the last application was made to your board that you eventually granted the variance. And the reason why I say that is because the last application included a site plan from I believe engineer Ralph Mastromonaco, which critically for our clients, 52 houses, Shingle Houses purposes, said that the location of the 1-inch copper water line that runs at the western boundary line between 56 and 52 runs under the driveway, the existing driveway of 52, and connects to Brock's Rock Road, the paper street, is to remain. The other water line is to be abandoned. So presumably, if the applicant has not changed anything since the last application, and if that includes keeping undisturbed that water line, which is to remain, then that's perfectly fine. I just wanted to make that clear, and I'm wondering if that should be specifically stated, as you said, in a new variance resolution. One final point, I'm not gonna belabor it, in the last application, in the site plan, it also said that there'll be no regrading permitted on the existing asphalt driveway. The reason why that's important to note is because the water line runs in an easterly direction, then under the driveway, as I understand it, and then it connects up to Brock's Rock Road, which means if you have the existing water line remaining and that works in tandem with the asphalt driveway not to be regraded, there's a logical reason why those two seem to be there. So if that remains to be the case, then I don't think my clients at 52 would have any issue with that.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is there anything that has occurred since the approval of this variance that would lead you to believe that that's not what's happening there?
There was some discussion between the owners and they, I don't wanna even say basically, they actually did intimate that they can do what they want with that water line. And the concern is that they're going to disrupt it. I think they'd started doing some excavation, if I recall correctly. And the building inspector may know a little bit more history than I do, so I apologize if I'm not clear on it. But there started to be friction between the two. And I wrote a letter to the neighbors, and that prompted a discussion between me and different counsel. I know Mr. Singleton and I had some conversation, I know Whitney for years. So that's why we're sort of coming here concerned, we wanna make sure that plan remains as it is, and we're suggesting it be a condition of your variance resolution, if you grant it.
Can I explain the board the situation? It has nothing to do with the variance. As of now, this is the existing property. Right now, the 4 houses fed on this property is fed from basically we call it spaghetti lines. It's come from Shingle Road. 52 Shingle is in this area. So there is a water line coming in through the 56 Shingle and across the 52 is feeding. As of now, I think it's between the 52 Shingle and the 56 Shingle owners to agree on that. But we're not touching this from the original design, and we still continue not touching it as it is. They have to get agreement between the two owners.
I guess not understanding that. Is this something that is part of the original variance that's not being honored? Or is this just a disagreement as to a separate issue?
If I
Yeah.
Thank you. So the original variance was based upon a submission that included that site plan application. which identified that that existing water line would remain. Then, after the variance was granted, there started to be disagreement, and my clients understood from the neighbors that notwithstanding that representation, that they may disturb that water line. That's what prompted our involvement. There's a longer history than that. There's a 1928 agreement, 1928, I believe, a declaration which refers to a well. There is a maintenance agreement with respect to Brock's Road. So there's a lot of legality here. We would obviously prefer an easement agreement of some sort to record it. It's always better if the neighbors work it out than going to your board. And we've tried that and we've offered that. But as a baseline, there is history and there's also representation to your board. Again, I'd love to work it out. Unfortunately, we're not able to.
So,
May I weigh in on this, please? This is nothing more than an attempt by a private property owner to gain a property right as a result of its trespass by leaning on a public board. This has nothing to do with your board. Jacob and I have discussed this matter. We have expressed a willingness to work this matter out. But what he's essentially trying to do is to use your board to create as a condition of approval a private right over my client's property that they do not presently have. If they have it, fine, show us to us. They don't have it. And I think it's inappropriate for your board to be leveraged in this fashion.
I don't feel like we're being leveraged in that fashion. I think we're just.
Well,
Excuse me, sir, can I just finish? Sure. I don't think, just as the person who's sitting up here perceiving this, I don't think we're being leveraged in any way. I think we're being informed as to what this homeowner's understanding is, okay? And clearly you have a different understanding. If the variance is expired and our council thinks that the process has to begin again, we'll begin it again and everybody can make their positions known. That's it.
Okay. That's fine, but what clearly what Mr. Amir stated to you was he wanted the right to continue a trespass across my client's property as a condition of approval. So I do believe that you're being leveraged.
Okay. When was the word trespass used?
I'm using it.
Okay.
He has no easement rights across my client's property.
I have a
They put
question.
in a water line in
Give
a
me a
convenient
second.
location.
So, but that was not a variance that we granted, was it?
Correct.
No,
That
it's
has
not. So
nothing
it
to
was
do with
just,
Mr.
it was
Amir's
shown on
property.
the site plan like everything else was shown on the site plan, but we did not specifically say that this had to be included or not included.
Exactly.
Alright, so let me kind of speak to a couple of things here, because I don't wanna get back and forth with Mr. Singleton in a cross-examination sort of fashion. Your board received a site plan application with that representation. Your board also, prior to your board's variance resolution, there was a memo from the deputy town engineer, I believe, which referred to this water line existing probably since the 1920s or so. And so I'm not asking your board to opine on the legalities of this whatsoever. That's not for your board to do that. If there's a dispute, the courthouse is always at our disposal. We're trying to avoid that. What I'm suggesting to your board is this applicant is coming to you after a variance is expired based upon a 2024 denial letter and is presented to you with an application which is different in terms of the content, in terms of the backup than what was submitted in 2024. I don't know if that means it has to be referred back to the building inspector to review in whole
So
or
what's different, I'm sorry?
This application contains material, for instance, septic plan, building development plan, that's all fine. It's perfectly fine that they include it. They did not include the material that was in the last application. If your board is now treating this anew, then that's perfectly fine. Then if you're treating it anew, I would suggest let the applicant bring you everything so you can make an informed decision. If, however, before we started, the applicant was bringing you an application to basically redo the variance that existed before, then they should have brought you all the materials from the application they gave you before. You can't have it both ways. You can't piecemeal and say, just give us the old variance. I'm not asking for anything more than to have a fully informed board. If they're simply saying, give us the same variance that you gave us before, then base it upon the same materials that was presented before. And those materials included a representation that a water line is going to remain.
But we're not giving a variance on materials.
But you
We're giving a specific variance for the access.
Correct, but that variance on the town 288 variance should determine whether there is a substantial impact by use of that access and under the elements of the variance, whether there is an adverse impact to the neighbors. When I saw their site plan and it said existing water line, then I said, fine, there's no impact to the neighbors. It's perfectly fine. When there was later discussions and we heard 56 Shinghai say, you know what, we can do what we want with it, you have no rights to it, it became an issue for us. So I can't say anything more than hold the applicant to the site plan representations that they made to this board before. Otherwise, have them submit an entirely new application with all the material and go through it so you can have an informed decision.
Acting Chairman and board members, let me just say this. There is no substantive change. There is fine tuning of this application. We have a septic approval from the Westchester County. There's been engineering plans, there's been building plans. We have not changed one iota of this application from what your board previously approved. As a matter of fact, if we submitted 6 days earlier or 10 days earlier, it wouldn't even be an issue. The fact of the matter is, Mr. Amir is trying to leverage your board to create a private right. Your resolution, and please go through it with your counsel or whoever else with a fine-tooth comb, your original approval did not say that a trespassing water line that is subsurface that my client was not previously aware of is entitled to some sort of continued rights or the creation of rights that's going to be blessed by your board. I think that you're being drawn into an issue that doesn't involve your board. Mr. Amir properly pointed out, it's a private land matter. And I have had discussions with Mr. Amir that we would try to work this out. But coming into your board and trying to either delay, defer, or alter our application that was already approved with no changes in condition is inappropriate, holding us hostage in the 11th hour.
I'm just gonna sum it up in 30 seconds. I'm not holding anything up hostage. I started by saying we have no objection to them building their house. We wanna see a beautiful house there. The easiest solution is take the site plan that they provided to your board before, attach it to this variance, send it to the building and department, and say, make your building permit consistent with the site plan application. That's what we're saying, just be consistent. I don't wanna delay any of this. I don't want to.
Jacob.
And I'm not having a colloquy with Mr. Singleton.
Mr. Singleton,
All right.
hold please.
Can I weigh in as well? This is Marcel Bao. I'm the owner of the 56 Shingle Hills Road. So to answer board's question, has anything materially changed in this application? My answer is no. And the reason is because well before the application, we have already raised the concern about this water line to 52 Shingle House in 2023, like well before the application, and we requested them to relocate the water line. So this has been happening. This happened well before the application, and since the application, nothing has changed. 52 Shingle House has not done anything, and we have not really done anything on this except requesting them to relocate the water line.
Right, but that water line was not relocated in the plans that were submitted upon which the variance was granted originally, right?
Correct, the water line is still there.
Okay, so it hasn't been moved.
Yeah, we call it, and nothing changed.
Right,
It's still right in existing water line.
But is there a material change to this second request for the variance? Tom, are you aware of any material changes to?
This is a 280A request.
Right, but is there, so I just wanna ask counsel for the neighbor, can you point to us, where is the difference in site plan, or what is the difference that you're referring to? Because I wanna make sure I really understand.
The current submission does not include the site plan that was included in the last application. So it was a mystery to us as to the site plan. So we looked at the 2024 submission, which contained it, and it has that existing water line to remain.
Okay.
If it was included in this one and your board granted the variance based upon this one, I wouldn't be here tonight.
Okay, so Mr. Singleton, can you
He's okay.
one second, please. Mr. Singleton, can you explain why the site plan was not attached to this most recent application?
He's on mute. Mr. Singleton, you're on mute.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize for that. The application hasn't changed at all. As you know, when you show a site plan, you show existing conditions. Whether a wall traverses a property line or meanders, a fence, or any other existing utilities or power lines or anything, they're all reflected on the plan.
You're coming here asking for an extension of an
No, I'm not asking you for an extension. If I had been asking for an extension, I would have needed to submit 10 days earlier.
Well, it says right here, it says number 7 of your application, we are asking for an extension of time to start the construction and complete the project.
Right, but because the request was made after 365 days, it technically needed to be a new application. You can only ask for an extension if it's submitted. It doesn't need to be granted. It needs to be submitted within the 365 days. It was submitted within 375 days or thereabouts. But we haven't changed one iota of the application. The mere fact that it is showing an existing condition on site that is nothing more than a trespass does not confer rights to Mr. Amir's client. And I think it would be wholly inappropriate to try to create that by saying, and I'm just using Mr. Amir's words, he wanted a condition of approval that this water line would remain. If Mr. Amir's clients have a right to keep that water line there, let them assert it in a court of law, or let them assert it in some sort of negotiations privately with the client. As you heard from my client earlier, this has been an issue with the neighbors going back before we even brought the application. They are now bringing this up to bootstrap this into a property right which they are not entitled to.
Okay, let me just stop you there. First, what I would respectfully request that we eliminate the term trespass in this proceeding, because I don't think that that's relevant to what we're dealing with here. Counselor, can you opine on this?
I think the question was raised as to whether the site plan that was included in the original application was included with this reapplication.
Correct.
And someone is saying that Mr. Amir is saying that it's not. Is that true?
Right, I did not see it on the town's website that I accessed.
Is the original site plan in here?
I should know that answer.
It's exactly the same site plan.
Right, so
that we-
Mr. Singleton, can you state that the site plan that's in the most recent application is exactly the same site plan that, even though I know you explained how a site plan can be modified, but the water line is the item in question that we're discussing.
That has not changed.
That has not changed.
Just so we're mincing words here, if that has not changed, I and my clients are happy to hear that if that's recognized by this board. But to answer the specific question, I did not see the site plan in what was submitted for this proceeding tonight. I printed it out off of the town's website. It has septic, it has building schematics, elevations, schedule detail, notes. I did not see a site plan here. If I didn't print it out, it's on me, but I printed out what was on the website.
Okay, so does the board feel at this point, are there any opinions on whether, well, first of all, we don't need the old site plan to opine on this most recent application. We would just vote on the most recent application, and that's all we need to do. But does anyone on the board have an opinion on, or a strong opinion on what we should be doing vis-a-vis the old site plan versus the new site plan in case there is an omission that we're not considering?
Yeah, I think the issue is that the application tonight, Mr. Singleton, is your position that the application tonight stands on its own that it's a wholly new application, because if you're looking to have us rely in any way, shape, or form on the prior application, that prior site plan has to, needs to be part of this. I just don't see how you can ask us to rely on the prior application, and then we don't have certainty as to the site plan being included in this application. So which is it? It can't be,
Well, what you're basically saying is, and I'm just trying to repackage what you're saying is, the fact that we did all of the public notices, we did all of the calculations and everything else, and we simply said that we are looking for a reapproval of our exact same prior application is insufficient from your perspective, even though we have all the plans.
So that's an attempt to characterize the record in a way that
No, I'm not trying to characterize the
Oh,
record.
yes, it is. Those aren't the words that I used. I asked you very specific questions. And the question is this a standalone application, or are you asking us to rely on, in approving this, what you submitted previously? If you're not, fine. If you are, tell us. But stop at the shell game, just tell us.
Well, first of all, I resent the fact that you're referring to it as shell games. We are simply asking for the board's renewal of the application. The fact is that in the submissions and the application before your board, and Will, please help me to the extent that I'm unfamiliar with this. The submission before your board does not have the original site plan as part of it because we did not change anything to it.
That's correct.
Okay, this board, we adhere to governmental regulations. We also adhere to the neighborhood and the people of the town in order to make sure that everyone feels that they're properly represented. My concern would be, and I'd like to propose that we adjourn this to the next meeting until we can get the site plan ironed out where we feel that the neighbor feels that they're covered by the particular site plan for this particular application. That would be something that I would like to propose, because then we're not dealing with an abstract issue. I feel right now we're dealing with an abstract issue.
Okay, except for the fact that the neighbor's covered. Our job here is not to cover the neighbor. And I know you don't like the term, but if the neighbor is trespassing on our property, it's not to cover the neighbor. It is simply to allow us access to a property that has always gained access by this means of access. It's an existing access way, and to gain access directly to a suitably improved public street without an easement requires building a driveway at a 50% slope. It would be absurd to require that. So I do appreciate the fact that your board wants a complete application. And if you want us to submit both the original site plan application that we had, and you want us to give an affidavit that nothing has changed on it, we would be happy to, but we do not wish to be held hostage by somebody trying to garner property rights through a municipal board.
Thank you. Again, I think we probably differ on terminology, but the fact is I do think that we would feel better as a board, and I do think would be a more educated board to vote on the site plan as it was previously presented to us in the initial application.
Okay, so we'll kick this to, does your board have an August meeting? 'Cause I know it's summer schedule.
September.
September. So we'll kick this to the September meeting, and specifically, we will submit our original approved site plan application, and we will give you an affidavit that nothing on our site plan application has changed since its original submission date.
Fine, thank you very much. So therefore, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the 56 Shingle House Road in Millwood application until the September meeting.
Okay. Thank you, board. Okay.
Acting Chairman Nolan,
Yes.
Ron Genzeg, Warren Gottlieb,
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tony, how about back here? Jesus. Missed all the hand-to-hand combat. Okay, Ross?
I'm Robin Sun, the architect for Jonathan and Stacy Ross, who are looking to build a pool house on their property. The property is a long rectangular piece that has 75% of the property in front of the house, which is opposite the Mount Kisco Country Club. So the only reasonable place to put the pool house is behind the pool towards the rear line, property line. I can show you. Sure. So here, you have the site plans and all of that in front of you. So here, these are some images. So this is an
Can you
image.
get the microphone,
Yep,
please? and-
yep, okay. Used to that.
Thank you, yes, we are, TV audience can
Okay.
hear you also.
Oh gosh. Okay, so this is sort of a rendering of what the pool house will look like off the pool, which is existing, sort of built into the existing setbacks. And you can see it would go right there. The property is very private, that's the one side towards the one Oak Lane resident. The houses behind are very far back, they also have long linear properties that, and their houses are towards the street behind. I can show you a site plan of that if you want. So this would be set, this terrace now is 16 feet deep, this would be 10 feet back and then go back and beyond that. The shrub line that you're seeing, the existing shrub line is like 33 feet from the pool, so even the back of the pool house would have another 5 feet before the existing shrubs. So we're not taking down any trees, anything like that. It's all basically built into that little hill, which would probably be about a 2.5 foot difference from the front to the back.
Where's the pool house going, back here?
Yeah, right where that terrace is.
Right here.
Yeah, yeah. But again, not the full depth of the terrace because I'm, trying not to push it.
Sure, sure.
And then these are the, the four sides of the existing house and the neighbor at 70 Annandale, so they are higher than my client's house, and the pool house is in the opposite corner to them, and the house at, on the other side of White Oak is very far away, like you can't see it.
Jackie, wasn't there a letter to this? Did someone send a
Yes,
letter to
I can address that because there was a letter from this neighbor who just got the letter without any explanation, and then when my clients did speak with him, he realized that there is no runoff, his property is higher, there are no trees being removed, and he said he has no objection to it.
Now, this is, I live right in the area, this is a very private property.
Yeah. I mean, you can see from the pictures with, the high shrubs and trees all around it that nobody's gonna see it, essentially. And I know Jonathan Stacy spoke to the other neighbors and nobody had any objection.
Okay, the first, excuse me, the first thing that struck me looking at this was, as you said, the house is sitting in extremely back from the road. What is the condition of, obviously their rear yard must back up to somebody else's rear yard from the other street. How far away would that house be?
I don't know exactly how far away, but I can show you, just on the Google Earth plan. So, this is the golf course, this is the property, we're talking about the other houses on this street are all the way here. So this is
Okay, so this
70, yeah.
is White Oak,
That's White Oak, this is
the property in
this is the
question.
property, this is the 70 Annandale.
Okay,
And then these houses are really towards the street, so there's a lot of property in between.
can you give me That's the one we're talking about. I was concerned about what's back here, but it looks like it's pretty old.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of there's a lot, it seems like there's a lot.
Marv?
Yeah. Do you wanna see other pictures?
What was the address of the property owner that lived in originally?
70.
70, okay, so. Show me where the.
70 Annandale?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're at 64 is the property, but 70 was wrote her letter, but again,
And it's gonna be somewhere in here, but it's gonna be on.
it's on the far corner from them, but
I see.
Okay, it's on the far
yeah,
corner.
yeah, it's actually as far away as possible. Yeah.
Alonzo's old house.
Yeah. Moved in next to them when I first moved to Chappaqua years ago. Before it's moved.
Lois Rosenthal.
Well, I didn't live on this area, I lived on.
Anyway,
Okay. Anything else on your presentation we need to know about? No.
Oh, well, there is also a variance requested for pool equipment, which was installed before my clients bought the house and was installed obviously with the pool. The pool has a CO, but the pool equipment apparently never got the CO. So the pool equipment is on the side of the house, which is a pre-existing non-conforming, because the side of the house was built with the original house. So the pool equipment was located there, but sort of for some reason never got approved with the approval of the pool.
And it's
So
still there today?
it's still there.
Okay.
Or, I mean, if it was moved at some point, I have no idea, but there's pool equipment that had to go with the pool.
Anybody in the room would like to speak to this application? We have any hands raised online? No hands raised. Okay. Board's all happy. I'm moving to close the public hearing.
I second the motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that the Ross application 64 Annandale Drive for the pool house addition requiring a 26-foot rear yard variance. The pool terrace requiring a 14-foot variance. The existing pool equipment which requires a 17-foot variance. And the side access to the landing with steps which requires a 5-foot variance. Be approved for the following reasons. We had one neighbor who had expressed some concerns about this application. They have contacted the concerned neighbor. There has been a discussion and the concerned neighbor is now no longer concerned. And that is the only input we've had from the public on this one. The granting of the variance will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. There is no other way to achieve the benefits sought other than to grant the variance. These are somewhat substantial in some requests, some regard variance, and some are not so substantial. But in general, I would say they're not very substantial. There'd be no adverse effect on the physical environment or conditions. This is a self-created hardship. That being said, the benefit to the applicant will far outweigh any detriment to the town or the neighborhood. We will need foundation surveys, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Foundation survey prior to framing on the pool house. And we'll need a completion survey upon completion of as-built survey. And we'll have 6 months to start and 1 year to finish.
I second the motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
You have your variances, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Michael Bloomberg.
Good evening, my name is Philip Pollard, I am architect for Michael Blumberg, representing him, who will talk you through the project. We are looking to add an addition to an existing house. The house itself was built in 1790, it's quite an old house and has an addition for which there is currently no plan. Building the apartment, I think it must be in the 40s or something. But we're looking to demolish this part. It did sustain some flood damaging early in the year. This current addition has one bedroom in it that's kind of oversized and in an attic type situation. We're looking to remove this and build a 2-story addition which would project 4 feet beyond the existing building line. It would not project beyond the existing portico. There's a big oversized portico that's on the property. I will show you the site plan. The house itself is in an existing non-conforming location. Basically, the entire house is within the 60-foot setback line. It is on the lane, which is basically a driveway that leads to Seven Bridges Club. So the next neighbour, Seven Bridges, is on this side. Actually, Mr. Blumberg is on the board of the club, I believe. There is an empty parcel here and the other neighbours basically have frontage on Millwood Road. Towards the back of the property is a big rock outcrop, so we can't really go back any further than we are. And we're basically seeking to go 4 feet beyond the line of the existing property. That will give us we can go into the planning, but it would allow us to put 2 bedrooms and eliminate one of the bedrooms in the house is very small at the moment, so we would open that space up. But it would give us an optimal layout. We're actually having to overhang the top story as well over this rock outcrop because we can't really push it that far back. We believe that it's not going to cause any detriment to the character of the street. It's quite a nice little street, and I think that architecturally this allows us to have a gable end, and I've received architectural review board already, and we're seeking a variance for this property.
So what you're saying is that proposed addition will not come any closer to the lane than the existing columns and portico that's on the front?
Correct, yes.
So you're not really coming any farther than what's right there?
We're not really coming any further, but anything we do on this property requires a variance, including even further back. In the year 2000, there was a conversion of this glass house into a kitchen area that required a variance. It must have been, it was subdivided.
And you can't push back because of the rock ledges there?
We can't push back because of the rock ledges, and this, the current proposal, this is 16 feet across, which is sort of good distance to build using standard lumber. We're doing a lot of, as far as the floor plate's concerned, in the house of quite old, we're doing a lot of level changes and basically trying to rationalise some of the layout. And we also would like to utilise this part of the yard more. Currently, there is no access from this addition to this part of the yard, which is the only really flat part of the yard. Everything else, it's an awful lot. This is quite hilly and the septic and everything is located here. So we locate a family room here and have a patio 12 foot by 20 foot, and then we could use this flat area. The client purchased a property maybe 4 or 5 years ago as young children, and we think that this would be an improvement to the current house.
So are there any other houses on the lane, or is this the only house?
This is there is 2 to the lane, but that actually fronts onto Millwood Road.
Fronts on Millwood?
And then, so as you drive down, and there's the other neighbours are right on Millwood, there's like a house there that's right on Millwood Road, so that's.
You had no input from them?
They have no issues with my understanding, Mr. Blomberg has spoken to them about it. And this is really wetland, I believe, and it's an empty lot, but I don't think it's built.
Okay. Any other questions, board?
No.
Anybody in the room or online that would like to address this application? No hands raised, nobody in the room. I move we close the public hearing.
I second the motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Lauren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
All right, I'm gonna pay my penance, I'll do another one.
Okay, good work.
All right, I'm gonna make an application that a motion that the Bloomberg application for a 40-foot variance for a front yard, for an addition front yard variance for the proposed addition, a 36-foot variance for the proposed patio, for also front yard, approved for the following reasons. This is a old house that was built before the zoning was implemented. It is close to the road and has no other alternatives but to deal with, the applicant has no other alternative but to deal with the existing conditions. The rear yard is rock ledge and they will be unable to do anything in the rear that would help them with the needed addition for their house. So the only logical place and the only practical place is as proposed on the plans. There have been no neighbors to speak to this application, there's no objections. And granting of the variance will not create an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood. There is no other method, reasonable method to achieve the desired end, as we've discussed about the conditions of the plan, the properties. There'll be no adverse effect on the physical environment of the neighborhood. While this, again, is a self-created hardship, it's self-created in such an extent that there's really no other way to do anything to make this house a more livable and modernized structure. And the granting of the variance will not, I mean, the hardship the self-created hardship should not be taken into effect because the benefit to the applicant will far outweigh any perceived detriment to town or neighborhood. We'll need foundation surveys prior to framing on your addition. And we'll need as-bills for the addition and the patio. And we'll have 6 months to start and 1 year to finish. Can you make it in that time frame?
I think we're planning to start before foundations before the winter, so
Okay.
yes.
If not, come back to us.
If 6 months to start, 1 year to finish.
Right.
I'll remember to come back.
I second the motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Lauren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
You have your variance, good luck.
Okay. Mudge.
Yeah, there was. Is there one before
There
this?
was, but there's
It's
They-
gotcha.
Oh, okay. So, bear with me a second. I have both hard copies, and then I did want to log in online and show it on the screen. So, give me a second. I'm Bill Spade, architect, representing Emily and Jerry Mudge. Emily is online here. I'm going to go to Zoom and hopefully be able to share my, you can see that's not gonna be the screen I want. Share this. All right. This may not be the screen I want, so let me just check. Nope. For some reason I am not getting screen, I hope I was gonna show, so we'll just use the board here. So again, Bill Spade, Emily Mudge, I thought I stopped sharing. Emily, go ahead, Emily would like to say a few words to the board.
Hi, good evening, board members. I'm Emily Mudge, live at 66 Hilltop Drive in Chappaqua, New York. I've been living in this house for a little over a year. We love Chappaqua. We lived in another house previous to this, have 3 kids and a dog. We live in a neighborhood, and we are looking to add a porch addition and awning over our garage, primarily to prevent stormwater from entering the residence, and to connect our mudroom to our front entryway. Our property is set sort of down below the street level, and there's a waterfall feature right in front of the space where we would like to have the porch, so it's really set back from the road. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emily. So the house, again, it's a 1.1 acre lot. It's in the R1A zone. It was originally built in 1966, and then substantially enlarged in 2006. It has about 5,400 square feet now with a 2-car garage. The property is very steep from front to back. It's about an 80-foot grade change from along the street to the rear of the backyard. Emily mentioned, I had pictures I was going to show you, but there's a rock outcropping even in the front yard that hides about half of the house. And so the house was built, the main part of the house was built right at the 60-foot setback line, so any improvement on the front of the house would go into the setback. There's a small front entry porch at the moment on the property, and then a small porch in front of a side entrance, and I'll have a couple of renderings here. I'll show you on the floor plan. The front entrance is here, driveway is to the right side, front entrance is kind of all the way to the left side of the house. Rock outcropping is out in front of that front entrance, so you really can't even see the front door driving in the driveway. And so there's a substantial amount of, walkway that you have to cross to get to the front door. You pass by a side entrance on the way to that front door. And the side entrance was done very elaborately, side lights, an arched window on top of it. So most people mistake their side entrance as the front entrance. And so part of this is to help make the front entrance look a little more prominent and de-emphasize the side entrance. We'll go back to here. So on our site plan, as I said, the corner of the house was built right at the 60-foot setback. We're proposing a essentially 7-foot deep porch along the front to connect the side door and the front door. And so that results in needing an 11-foot variance to 49 feet off that nearest corner of the porch, proposed porch. We're also proposing a 3-foot shed roof over the garage doors, which are on the side of the house, the right side of the house. That corner is presently the closest corner to the front property line. That's 54 feet. So we need a variance for adding that roof at that corner. It goes down, goes down to 54 feet for that variance. But the new front porch is what increases the variance required to 11 feet for the 49-foot total offset. We think that the proposed porch and roof are very common features in houses in Chappaqua, that fits in with the neighborhood very nicely. The fact that this rock outcropping screens a substantial part of the front of the house makes it therefore no change or very little change to the neighborhood. It's not a substantial I should keep the microphone with me, right? Not a substantial amount It's about the total area of that footprint of that porch is about 3% of the whole front setback area. So I think that that's not substantial. And it is always interesting, that idea that yes, it is self-created, but that's not the only criteria used for approving. So we'd like to get your approval of these variances. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds reasonable. Board?
I just have a question. What was the water issue that this is?
So there's a rock outcrop. You see on the site plan a couple of little circular ponds. This is the top of that rock outcropping. It's about 10 feet above the front entrance level of the house. And so you walk up a hillside here, and there's a pump that pumps the water from this lower feature back up to the top and just recirculates it around. So this is, you know, from that little top of the rock outcropping down. Does that explain that?
Yeah, I thought there was like a water overflow solution.
Oh, I see, you thought maybe a
Yeah, but it's
stormwater
not
thing?
that.
No, it's purely a decorative
fountain.
Waterfall.
And the 3-foot shed roof over the garage, I assume, is just for aesthetics.
Protection of the doors, you know, getting out, being able to stand at the doors and not get wet.
Anybody else? Anybody in the room or online that would like to address this application?
So,
Come forward.
Good evening, Emily. Good evening.
No, come forward,
Here, yep.
come forward. Please state your name for the record and what your,
My name is Lee Pack. I live at 67 Hilltop Drive, the house that's immediately opposite, number 66, the Mudge's house. I really just want information. I want to understand the language in this. Just so a few weeks ago, prior to receiving this or knowing anything about it, I had actually gone down to the town board, to the building department, because I had thought of building a garden shed or having a garden shed, a small garden shed, to at the back of my house, and it would be my house is 67 feet, I think, from the front. It's set back 67 feet, I believe. And I believe it has to be, so I got this information from the, sorry, I'm quite nervous. I got this information from the building department that it has to be, my shed would have to be 60 feet back from the front, from the road, from the front border.
that's correct.
So I'm aware of, anyway, I just wanted to understand this, when we moved into our house in 1983, the house opposite number 66 was substantially smaller and very simple. It didn't have any porticos or porches in the front. And so it's now much larger, much grander. And I want to know what would be meant by a new porch and a portico. As far as I understand, a porch would include some living space. It could include chairs, tables. People would sit out in front of the house, presumably on a porch. A portico is a little different. It just is a roof with maybe some columns to protect the front door when people are opening the front door so they don't get wet, so that parcels can be placed on the step in front of the house. But a porch is much different. It's actually a living space. People can sit out there with chairs and a table. And in fact, I can see, just standing on in the front of my house, I can see the front door of number 66 very, very visibly. It's not hidden in any way. So I think Mr. Spade has slightly exaggerated the fact that this rock outcropping hides the front door. it doesn't,
Okay.
in my estimation.
So we don't know if this porch is gonna be used with a table and a chair to sit on or not. Maybe Mr. Spade can address that, but at the same time, you have to remember that a person's front yard is their front yard. If there was no porch and no patio or a portico, and they decided to put a table and a chair in the front lawn,
Absolutely,
they would have every right to do so.
I understand.
So you would see that as well as you would see somebody on a porch. Now, it's my guess from the look at the plan and from the design that was shown, that this is just a protective measure to get from door to door, but I'd rather have the architect give you a much more detailed and informed opinion on that. So if you don't mind, Bill?
No, absolutely not. Thank you. And I do have photos on here, if you want me to pass my computer around, of course, I was trying to put that up on the screen. But yeah, the substantial part of this porch is 7 feet deep. If at best, somebody could put a couple of seating chairs on it with a little table if they wanted to, but the 7-foot depth was really to provide the coverage for doors. And again, you know, show you maybe a street view from, you know, about half of the house is covered by this rock outcropping straight from the street, 10 feet high, so clearly it covers you know, a lot of the first floor. So it is a, you know, much more screened from the street than a standard house. So these are the things I would offer there.
So what is the opinion of the building inspector possibly and our legal counsel and you two about considering a porch a living space? I have never heard that before.
Yeah, a porch is a covered space. It has a roof over it. So from the building code, zoning code perspective, a porch is a structure, needs a building permit because there's a roof on top of it, but it's an open space. It's not an enclosed space. You can put chairs and tables and use a porch as you would in a living space, but it's open air. That's the primary part. A portico, differentiated from a portico might be a smaller roof covered space entering, you know, for an entrance into a house or building. A porch implying something longer and probably larger than a portico. But, you know, from a structure perspective, it's a roof that's supported by posts.
But you're not seeking a coverage variance,
No.
you don't need,
Correct.
you're within your
We're
limits there.
should have mentioned that before, we're within
So
all
it's-
the other limitations.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
So in my opinion, for just to get it out there, is that I know you have concerns about it.
No, I don't have any concerns, I'm just wondering
But-
why it requires a variance.
Oh, it requires a variance because it's too close to the front property line.
Exactly,
Yeah,
it should be 60 feet, correct?
right, but in this case, it's impossible to do that because of the way the house is built.
The house was built right at the 60-foot line.
I understand,
Yeah.
absolutely, yes.
Anything-
So it's in accordance with building code. But this new,
We're gonna continue our conversation, you have to come forward, you have to speak into the mic.
so these constructions will be, they won't be within the 60-foot requirement.
No, that's why we're here.
Exactly.
We are here to give relief to homeowners and property owners that have these difficulties and feel that they have it would be a better structure and a better living area if we were to grant them this little variance to create these amenities for them, so to speak.
Okay, so these houses were all built by Mr. Teasdale.
Correct.
And they're simple houses. And I am just a little concerned aesthetically that we don't have mansions.
Those were simpler times. I remember-
Overpowering.
I remember when they were built. Those were much simpler times.
Overpowering the simpler, you know, I don't think there are any other houses in the neighborhood that have porticos and porches quite as grand as this. I think it's the only one.
I couldn't address that. It's,
There was the house immediately to the left, or to the right of 66, presumably was a redone house, very colonial, two-story, and they do have a,
Which one is that?
I don't have a note here. I think the numbers go up, so it's 62, I think is the next property to the right, which is, sorry, and I'm not talking to the microphone, the next property to the right. Theirs is a two-story colonial with a portico, porch, front
Yes,
entrance,
yes.
gabled, right? So
Yes.
I would say that's a comparable.
But it's set further back, the
It's-
house
it's
is quite a
similar.
bit.
They are
I
similar.
think,
I can show
think
a
it's much
sight
further
line.
than 60 feet, that house is. Some of them are much further set
well,
back.
excuse me, the houses were built according to the properties when they built them. Some were able to be pushed back, some were not.
Yes, yes.
So it's, we have no
We're dealing
control
with what's there, what's built, yes, and I'm
Here,
not complaining
I'm sorry, I
about
would love to put this up on the screen, but this is a aerial view of the our property is the one here.
Yeah.
The one we're talking about is next door there.
Okay.
So it's a comparable, it was built, it appears at about the 60-foot setback line. You can see the ones on the other side of the street, as the property was saying, we're further back, not a significant amount more, but somewhat further back. Part of that's due to just the topography there. I don't know if
Okay.
there's anybody else.
We're not gonna belabor this.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other person online with their hand raised? Since there's nobody else in the room, nobody hand raised. Anything, any more comments on from the line? Okay, I'll move, we close the public hearing.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion regarding property located at 66 Hilltop Drive. They are requesting a front yard variance of 11 feet and a front yard variance of 6 feet for the front yard. The house is built in 1966 and was built right on the 60-foot setback line back when it was built. So anything that's being done to the house would require a variance. They're looking to build the front porch portico, which would give them some protection from the elements when coming into the house as well, and the same thing for the roof overhang over the garage. It's a 3-foot shed roof. Let's see, it's on a 1.1 acre piece of land. The granting of this variance will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. The benefits sought by applicants probably can't be achieved by another method since the house is in place already and they're looking to add to particular areas of the home. The requested variances are not particularly substantial, and there really isn't any other feasible way to do what they want to do. It will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. There is a neighbor, Mrs. Pike, who has come and voiced her concern about the size of the home in the context of the neighborhood. And the board will determine whether that is sufficient to make a change to this request. It is a self-created hardship, but I think that the benefits accrued from the building will outweigh the hardship that has been created, self-created. And 6 months to start, a year to finish. What do we need, Tom?
Foundation survey and a final survey.
Foundation and a final survey required.
I'll second that motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
You have your variance.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Emily. And I'm the next, with the next applicant.
Oh, you are the next one, okay. I don't have to call you.
Yeah.
Can't find the list.
the homeowner Kristen Quintano is here. So maybe similar to before, I'd like to introduce her and have her say a few words. Again, the project is 92 Ridgewood Terrace. It's existing two-story home, built in 1910 and built before the zoning guidelines were put in place. It's on, the original house is fully in the front yard setback. An addition was done in 2006 by a prior owner on the rear of the house, as well as enlarging the roof area. So, and at some point, we don't know if it's a prior owner or somebody before, had enclosed what used to be an open front porch on the house. The front of the house is about 11 feet from the front property line. The back of the house, the original house was fully in the front setback. We're proposing 3 additions to the house, a new front entrance portico. The front entrance right now is on the side of the house. And the substantial one we're doing is on the back of the house, fully behind the house. So the back of the house is in the front setback. 40 feet is the requirement. Back of the house is at 39 feet. We need a front yard setback to still build the addition on the rear. So those are our proposals. Kristen,
Yeah. Hello. Thanks for being here so late, guys. I'm tired. I don't know how you're feeling, but I'm exhausted. My name is Kristen Quintano. My husband, Michael Gilligan, is also online listening because he's putting our kids to bed. So we moved in 2023. I grew up in Chappaqua. I was so happy to come back and bring my family back to Chappaqua and raise our kids here. Our 5-year-old is about to start kindergarten at Grafflin, and we love our neighborhood and Ridgewood Terrace. We have tons of friends, and we just need some more space. And we thought about maybe moving, but we just love the people that we've met in our neighborhood, and so we just want to improve our home and have an entrance that feels a little bit more formal to what it is now. We walk right into a straight hallway, and it's awkward and weird, and so we just want a little bit more of a formal entrance for people to walk in. And then have some more living space, have a bigger living room, be able to put a fireplace in our other living room, even though we have a wood-burning stove now. We want to have a little bit of 2 separate spaces. The side part allows us to build a bit of a master bathroom upstairs, so we don't have to share with our kids, which we do now. And those are the 3. Oh, and the back, the addition to the back. So it'll help our family. So thank you for your consideration. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I figured out how I needed to show the material on the board. That's the aerial. The house in 92 is this one with the blue dot on it. You can see that to the west, this is on the south side of Ridgewood Terrace. To the west are 3, 4, and even more homes that were probably all built in a similar era in 1910s, 1920s. Even the 2 to the west were similar original homes, 1-stories, front porches, some of which have been enlarged. So the houses along the street were all originally built much closer to the street than the zoning had contemplated and was then overlaid. I'll quickly show you our site plan here. And just to review the components we're adding, like it's always easier to show it on the screen. So we're adding this front porch. I'll show you pictures of it on the front. Again, presently it's an 11-foot setback to the face of the house, 11'7". We're proposing a 5-foot deep porch, 2 columns, a gable roof on top, just to be able to enter the house at the center of the house. There's an existing bay window on the right side. This footprint is the existing bay. It's a 1-story to, as Kristen mentioned, to enlarge the primary bathroom on the second floor and create essentially a second bathroom on the second floor. We want to extend this bay window up to the second story. And so that still needs a variance as the side of the house pretty much is right at the setback line. The largest piece we're doing is in the rear left corner. As I mentioned, the back of the house presently is 39 feet off the front setback. So any addition on the back there would require a front setback variance. There's a deck presently there, so we're replacing essentially a deck, two-story addition, first floor, second floor, and a basement underneath. Their basement presently is about a 6'6" head clearance, so makes it very limited usefulness due to that. So this new basement area, we're dropping it down 2 feet to create a more standard height basement space. And then proposing to construct a new deck behind the addition. The deck is all fully compliant with setbacks there. The house otherwise complies with the coverage and both building coverage and lot coverage requirements. I'll show you a couple of quick pictures. Take longer to load up and gotta reduce this back down. There's the front of the house. The original house was a one-story underneath in this same footprint. The prior owner was the one who added the dormer and the Dutch colonial sort of gables across, and then even added a wing to the rear. So I'll go back to a picture.
Wait, before you go away with that, Bill.
Yes.
The bay window,
Yes.
what is you just gonna run that up to the
Yeah,
roof
same
line?
lines up to the second floor.
The same angle and everything?
Same angle.
And that's gonna create what inside?
Bathtub.
Bathtub,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Soaking tub.
Right. A soaking tub. I'll show you that floor
So I don't
plan.
have to share with my kids.
Yeah, right now they're
I just was wondering if you're gonna increase that size or, but you're just
No.
going right up with that?
that same footprint. There's a foundation there, so might as well just use that foundation.
Good idea.
It was this is from the left side of the house. You can see the existing front entrance with a little roof over it on the left side. And as I said, you can see the house next door has the open porch there, presuming that that's what this was originally, was an open porch. So once they finished it out, for some reason decided to put the door to the side instead of in the rear, or instead of in the front. It makes a very odd elevation architecturally, so we feel like we're helping solve that. I'll show you a couple of just renderings. By that, here's the rear of the house. You can see where the existing deck is. This is where we're going to construct the two-story addition and mimic the Dutch colonial roof line of that existing gable, kind of a twin gables effect. I just want to show you here's 3D images of it. There's the front image with the new front portico. That I'd call a portico. And the longer thing I'd call a porch. Here's the extension of the bay on the right side, and then here's the addition, the two-story addition on the rear. As I mentioned, mimicking the Dutch gambrel roof line of the other side, infilling in between with a little shed roof. So, and that's what we're proposing.
Okay, on the rear addition, you're going to create the basement level with like an 8-foot ceiling.
Yes,
Is that because you wanna make a living space down there?
potentially, yes. But at the moment, proposing to stay unfinished.
Okay. So potentially.
Yeah. Well, doing a stair down to it so it would have a legal means of egress for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
not a rental apartment.
No. We know there are rules for doing that if you wanted to do that, but
Well,
no,
then-
no
No,
intention to do
there's possibilities now in Chappaqua
Yeah,
for mother-daughter, but
right.
I just was wondering why you were going to make this get that ceiling height that high, I
Yeah.
get it now.
Yeah, and again, I mentioned that the existing ceiling in the existing basement is like 6'6", and that's with very short. There's
Which
like
doesn't
2x6 floor.
Which doesn't meet the code for living space.
Correct.
And that's gonna stay the way it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it makes it difficult for storage, for any other functions there,
Okay, got it.
and taller people who wanna walk around in that basement.
We happen to be short when Bill's in our business.
Yeah.
Comments from the board? There will be no comments from the audience because there is none. Anybody online with their hand raised?
Yeah. Stop the share.
No. No hand raised. Jackie?
Not that I can see.
Okay, good. I'll move we close the public hearing.
I second the motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
You wanna do it? No, me to do it. I'll do it. I'm losing my voice. Why don't you-
I'll tell you, okay. All right, this is an application for 3 separate variances at 92 Ridgewood Terrace in connection with an application to install a 2-story addition behind the house, a 2nd-story addition above an existing bay window on the side of the house, and a front portico with landing. There are 3 separate variances here that are requested. With respect to the 2-story addition, there is a front yard variance of 7 feet that has been requested. With respect to the addition over the bay window, there is a side yard variance of 3 feet that is being requested. And with respect to the front portico with landing, there is a 34-foot front yard variance sought. Okay, applying the 5 factors, I move that the application be granted based upon a review of the 5 factors. First, will the granting of the variance create an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood? No, not at all. In fact, actually, I think it enhances it. Can the benefit sought to be achieved by some other method? Not really, based upon where the house is situated on the property, and also what is sought to be achieved. I think there's been a lot of thought given to the manner in which this could be accomplished. Are the requested variances substantial? I don't think they are. I know the last one with respect to the front portico landing seeks a front yard variance of 34 feet. However, in looking at some of the pictures that were provided, it does seem, and I do know the street, that is not uncommon on that street. So I don't think in that context it necessarily would be considered substantial. Will there be an adverse effect on the physical environment or conditions in the neighborhood? Nope. I didn't see that there's nothing in the record to indicate that. Is the alleged difficulty self-created? You could argue that it is. However, there has also been a lot put on the record about the benefit to the homeowner that would be gained by this with respect to living space, with respect to having an additional bathroom, and it seems as though the benefit to the applicant would far outweigh any detriment to the community, and I don't really see that there is any. So, Tom, what would you need here from the applicant?
A foundation survey and a final survey.
Okay, foundation survey and a final survey, 6 months to start and a year to finish. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
Have your variance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
And a good
Have a
summer.
good night.
Or a good August.
Any question, Warren?
No,
You all set? You had a question?
Oh, no, I said minutes.
Oh, minutes, yeah.
Talk to myself.
Sign
amendment.
Somebody else.
I see that. Alright, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the June 24th meeting minutes.
I second the motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
Minutes approved, adjournments in order, I move we adjourn.